what's up, y'all? It's me, Nate Almighty, and I'm back with another Raising Kanan Season 3 theory. Okay, so let's talk about Ronnie, and let's talk about my theory that may end up coming out, but it may not come out within the show, but we may have writers discuss this after Ronnie's character dies in the series, and that is that Ronnie had autism the entire time. Now, if you caught this title before you clicked this video, maybe it made you chuckle, or maybe you thought, wow, this guy's really taking it there. Maybe you're thinking, yo, this guy's trolling, and I just want you to bear with me. By the way, I also want to add a disclaimer that this video is by no means an effort just to exploit people who are on the autistic spectrum. This is to point out a thing that possibly went on in a lot of households in the 90s, and parents did not necessarily know how to deal with these children who were on the autism spectrum, right? There were probably a lot of misdiagnosis, or rather undiagnosed autistic kids. Okay, so shout out to the autistic people. We all know that anyone who has autism, you know, they express it in different ways. There are different extremes. So what I have here is a list of signs of autism, and I'm going to let you, the viewer and listener, decide for yourself whether Ronnie may or may not have shown signs of autism. Now, as we go through this list of the signs of autism, I am going to speak on certain situations that happened between episode 1 and 4 that gives credence and evidence to Ronnie being on the spectrum. Okay? Subscribe if you're new here, like the channel if you're already here, and without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, so keep Ronnie in mind as I read you this list. Here are the main signs of autism. Common signs of autism in adults include finding it hard to understand what others are thinking or feeling, getting very anxious about social situations, finding it hard to make friends or preferring to be on your own, seeming blunt, rude, or not interested in others without meaning to, finding it hard to say how you feel, taking things very literally. For example, you may not understand sarcasm or phrases like break a leg, having the same routine every day and getting very anxious if it changes. Now, so far, what are you guys thinking? Okay, so the first one here says finding it hard to understand what others are thinking or feeling. Now, if you want, you can disregard that. You can say, okay, I haven't exactly seen Ronnie behave this way, and then that's cool, right? Boom. People who are showing signs of autism, they don't show all of the same signs all at once. You know what I mean? Certain characteristics are like a give or take, right? But then the next one we have getting very anxious about social situations. You remember the end of episode 1, we got Unique taking Ronnie to the club. Okay? Ronnie's in the club. He's very anxious. He doesn't even really want to be there, right? But he's entertaining it on behalf of his brother. You see how he didn't want to be there, right? He's organizing his drink, right? He doesn't like when women are touching him. That's Ronnie. And it sounds like reason number 2. By the way, sideline, I also want to say that this is why, right? When Unique is talking to Rock about Ronnie, he says Ronnie has a specific skill set. I'm trying to find work for him. To me, at this point, it seems like Ronnie was never a drug dealer, right? Because he never specified like hustling per se. Since he's home, he's looking for money, and the only thing he knows is killing and the life of drug dealing. But he's possibly looking to drug deal because he has no other kind of work. I think Ronnie mostly was a hired gun. I think he was a hitman. I think he was a murder for hire kind of guy, right? possibly the main hitman for someone like DEFCON, right? Or someone like High Post, right? But going on, right? Let's move on. Finding it hard to make friends or preferring to be on your own. That's a clear indication of Ronnie. Ronnie has no friends, right? And the way he acts and the way he talks and the way he behaves and views things, you have to know that it would be very, very hard for Ronnie to make friends. Let's move on to the next one. Seeming blunt, rude, or not interested in others without meaning to. Now look, you have Ronnie in episode 4. Ronnie walks in, he meets with Pop, he meets with Snaps, okay? Now, what do you see? What do you see, okay? You see Ronnie, he's talking rude, right? Especially to Pop. You can tell that he has less respect for women than he does men, even though he has no respect for anybody for real. He's just focused on himself and getting what he wants. But as he's talking to Pop, right? He's being rude, but you can kind of see that he's not necessarily trying to be rude or blunt, but he's kind of just saying what he feels at the moment, and the first thing that's coming to his mind. It seems like he's not aware of the social cues, right? He's not reading the room well. You got to understand, in real life, when you're going to meet people and you're going to ask them for a favor, you're not going to find any excuse to be rude. We don't normally see this in these types of situations because you fear being rude will cost you to obtain what you want to obtain, right? And because Snaps probably already knows that Ronnie is, like he said socially malignant or something like that. He called Ronnie like socially malignant or something, meaning that he's like a socially like weird person. It's possible that Snaps already know what kind of person Ronnie is, so he knows that Ronnie can't really help himself in these type of situations, right? It's very possible, right, that Snaps had Ronnie do a couple hits for him in the past before he was retired, right? But let's move on to the next one. Finding it hard to say how you feel. Now, you could probably say, okay, that don't necessarily apply to Ronnie. Cool, right? We don't have to focus on that because there's other damning evidence. Like the next one, taking things very literally. For example, you may not understand sarcasm or phrases like break a leg. Taking things very literally, okay? Ronnie takes everything very literally. And then the next one, which will really make you think about Ronnie, is having the same routine every day and getting very anxious if it changes. One example, because we know we've seen 3 or 4 examples of Ronnie in this type of situation, right? One example, Ronnie wanted his Cheerios. We seen his emphasis on Cheerios, right, when he first came home. And then what was it? Episode 3, he's in the house reorganizing things, and Unique's girlfriend comes home from the store. As soon as she comes home from the store, Ronnie says very rudely, "Did you get my shit?" It seemed like he really wanted them Cheerios bad, and he was anxious about it. Like he really had to have his Cheerios. Now, we have here other signs of autism. Not understanding social rules, such as not talking over people, right? Example, you got Dean talking to Ronnie in episode 4, where Dean steps to Ronnie. He says, "Why are you darkening my doorstep, Ronnie?" What does Ronnie say, right? In front of a bunch of civilians, a bunch of innocent people, right? Which is also how he can end up going to jail. He doesn't read the room. He says very loud, "I need this work, Dean." Come on now. Who does that? Someone who doesn't read the room. Someone who may not even be able to control himself, right? And then the next thing is avoiding eye contact. We have many explanations of that. Okay? When Unique comes home, right, after saving Rock's life, Ronnie is talking to Unique but not looking in his face. When Unique curses Ronnie out, Okay? Ronnie doesn't look, Ronnie does not look in Unique's face when Pop is filling on him inside the diner or the cafe, whatever that is. He does not look her in the face. He's socially awkward. He's socially distant, man. He's socially distant, man. And here's another one. Getting too close to other people or getting very upset if someone touches or gets close to you. We know he does not want to touch anybody. He did not want to touch Unique's hand. Okay? He didn't like when Pop was touching him, but he had to endure it because he wanted something. And he did not want to touch Snap's hand. But he did it because he knew he had to. Okay? Here's another one. Noticing small details, patterns, smells, or sounds that others do not. We have some examples of that. Here's another one. Having a very keen interest in certain subjects or activities. Need I say more? And here's the last one. Liking to plan things carefully before doing it. You have to be able to plan things out to be the type of person Ronnie is. And there you have it. This is my unwavering evidence that Ronnie was autistic the entire time and probably was never diagnosed. And this is why so many people just thought he was weird and didn't understand it. And this also explains why he's not Breeze. Like, share, comment, subscribe, y'all. Peace.